Tonight, you guys, we have a very, very special guest speaker, Curt Beavers. Curt is one of the top 10 distributors in our company. He's got business in every one of our countries that we're in. And how many reps do you have, Curt? Like 40,000?
Yeah, I think over 50,000. I don't know, some crazy number.
Crazy number. And Curt and his wife Laurie started this business long ago just so that she could stay home with the kids. So they invested the $50 just like you did and have been able to create an amazing, amazing, beautiful life. And the reason why I wanted Curt to come and share with you guys is because what I love about Curt is that he lives completely from a place of contribution. And he is an author, he's a speaker, he runs the prayer breakfast at conference, and he's just a light for so many people. And he also has organizations like the Dollar Fund, which Richard and I contribute to, which we love, to be able to support that effort, because all of that money is going to things like Samaritan's Purse, St. Jude's Hospital, Pure Hope, some pretty cool places. So I really wanted Curt just to share with you guys. He wrote a book called, make a life versus the living, right? And
hey, Ellen, as far as
I read the book. It's a great book. You guys should get it. I think you can get it at Promo Plus even.
Whatever you just want to pull out a few, maybe not.
Hold on one second. Let me manage.
Exactly how many you have. If you want to pull out a few,
I think that's you.
That'll be.
Okay. If you guys want to mute yourself so we don't have your background noise, that'd be awesome if you're not already. Okay. So with that, Curt, I want to just turn it over to you.
Great. Thank you, Reagan. Can y'all hear me? Reagan, give me a thumbs up. We're good? Sounds good? Okay, good. It's been a fun week for me. I'll give you a little bit. I'll start with tell you where I've been for the week, and it's kind of very fitting for what Reagan asked me to share tonight. But, one of the things that I believe we're all designed to do is, and I wrote this, it is the title of my book, but I wrote the book to get a message out because I'm not John Gresham, never wanted to be John Gresham. And, with Amazon and everything today, there's so few that actually make money writing a book, but there are a lot of messages that people have in them that need to get out, and so there was a message in me of, I saw so many people around me that had this amazing passion and fire and burning desire in them. You call it their why or whatever. You knew they felt like they were just designed and wired to do X, but I watched them every day get up and go to a job that wasn't fueling their passion or their desire. It was in conflict with or was keeping them from what they really wanted to do. And I don't know how many of you know people, maybe some of you on the call, you're in those shoes where you get up and 40 hours, 50 hours, 60 hours a week, you do something just to pay the bills that is totally incongruent with what you want to do with your life, what you want to do with your family, where you want to be. And that book came out of me because I saw so many people around me as I was building this business, and Laurie and I had, put our stake in the ground. It was only $50, but we had decided, hey, we're not going to do what everybody else does, and get a degree and then get a computer, a cubicle, a computer, and a commute when you get your degree, and just waste our life away. There are whole industries out there, whether it's financial planning, banking, investments, insurance, or whatever, that their message to you is, if you will get a job and work 35 years and fund a 401k, when you're 60, 65 years old, you'll be able to enjoy life, and, the person that's at the top of the team that most of you are on above Reagan is Sean and Jennifer. And, they're the perfect example of, they sailed around the world when their kids were in elementary school versus waiting until they could go do it alone when they retired, when the kids were gone having their own life, and that's what so many people do, is they work to retire. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be able to enjoy the life while I built a business. And I think that's really the fruit of the business we're in today. Last week, just as a prime example, I was able to take both my boys, and we took 9 days, and we lived at 12,000 feet. We hired an outfitter and a cook, and we spent the week hunting elk with a bow and arrow at 12,000 feet, and it was just, we had a blast. I mean, we all three got an elk, which is probably unusual to go 3 for 3, 100% with a bow, and you got to get them within 30 yards or whatever. But we did go 100%. But the time we got to spend together as fathers and sons and brothers and, brother to brother was just amazing. And, I made a commitment to have that kind of time with my boys and my daughter too. My daughter and I do different things. She doesn't want to go hunt in the woods, but actually she does sometimes. But those are the kind of things this business has allowed me to do. And I think there are a couple things, and you all may have some of these things in your life too, before I dive directly into kind of how we built our business and what that journey looked like. There are a couple of things that happened in my life that kind of formed, for lack of a better word, the confidence that I was in the right place. When I was 13, my parents got divorced, and my dad really was gone. I mean, he didn't pass away at that point, but the last thing I remember my dad doing was coaching my 9-year-old baseball team. So, but when they got divorced because he went bankrupt. He had 28 furniture stores, was a multimillionaire, huge successful business in Atlanta, and made some bad grow too fast, kind of get greedy decisions with real estate, and in the furniture industry, borrowed a bunch of money and went bankrupt. And I saw him take our house, both cars, and my mom's wedding ring, and we moved into a 2-bedroom cabin that my grandparents owned. And when they got divorced, that was kind of when he went bankrupt, that was kind of the beginning of the divorce. So I've lived kind of debt averse, but at that point in time in my life, God put a bunch of different mentors in front of me. So I had a bunch of people playing surrogate dad, which was really cool, because a lot of people that grow up in a broken home like that don't have someone else to step in and play that father role, but I did. And they taught me how to be, have quiet time in the morning, to really focus on my purpose, which kind of was really probably why I wrote the book, to have a purpose-driven life, that like the book Rick Warren wrote. But when I was 18 years old, I was on this journey. I played tennis all my life. I was ranked very high and went on to play college tennis. And I think it was between my freshman and sophomore year in college, my granddad got really sick. And I'm telling you this because from the time I was 12, when I had to have knee surgery, I met this amazing orthopedic surgeon. He did surgery on my knee. I survived. It was great. And I decided at that point in time, I'm going to be an orthopedic surgeon when I grow up. And that was just all that was on my mind. I don't know why. I like this guy. I thought doctors were, a successful realm of society. So I was going to be a doctor. Playing college tennis, pre-med, granddad gets sick. Sorry, I've got a tickle on my throat. Granddad gets sick, and he has a tumor behind his ear, not cancerous, wasn't supposed to be a big deal. We're going to cut it out at Emory, and he'll be fine. Well, he got spinal meningitis in the operating room, and he ended up surviving, but he was in intensive care for 90 days. And so, only granddad, I was in college. I was there with him, visiting him, because we didn't know if it was going to be his last day or not. And here's what I observed. I don't know why God decided for me to watch this or why my granddad went through this, except for this story. So here I am I'm in pre-med, got 12 years of school ahead of me, and I'm watching this amazing neurosurgeon. She's coming to check on my granddad, making rounds in the morning before she goes to her office or before she does surgery. She's back at 6:30, 7 o'clock at night making rounds before she goes home. And over 90 days, I saw her do this every day. I saw her drive up in a nice Mercedes. I heard her talk about beach house and golf course. But I mean, I know for 90 days, she didn't do anything, but from 5 a.m. to 8 p.m., she was working. She was in this is not to knock the medical profession, because this could be any profession. But what I saw her doing was, I felt like I was going to go to school for 12 years to be a gerbil in a cage, just running the rat race. And at that point in time, I said, that's not the life I want, especially if I've got to go to school 12 more years to have it. And I'm sure there are a lot of, amazing professionals that discipline themselves better and spend their time more wisely than she did. But she made tons of money, but she had no life to enjoy what she made. And so I changed. Ended up changing my major to business, and then I got a Georgia Tech. And I had all kinds of job offers. IBM, Procter and Gamble, Coca-Cola. They wanted me to move all over the country. Company car. 30 years ago, $60,000 in the company car was a ton of money when you get out of, as a graduating out of college. But I wanted to stay in Atlanta, so I did. Got in commercial real estate, and here's where our story begins. Laurie and I got married right out of school. And as a couple, I don't think she was as focused on this purpose and what we wanted to make of our life as much as she had. As a mother, she had a plan for the family she wanted to design. My wife, if you were going to go to Disney World with her, she would have the fast passes bought. She would know what ride and what park you were going to be in at 4:00 on the third day. She just, she planned stuff. And so she had life planned. It was married 3 years, have your first child, wait 2 years, have your second child, wait 2 years, have your third child, then you raise the kids and you're done, And so she had all this planned out. And one day she was just distraught. We weren't making a lot of money. I had a great job working for a guy who made $70 million a year before in the real estate business. I was kind of going to be his flunky for a year and learn the real estate development world, and then I'd be able to do it too. And she was a bank secretary, high level, but with the president of the bank. But we didn't make any money. We were just, newly married, paying bills, renting an apartment. But here's what happened. Here was the trigger. If you read my book, I call it a kairos moment, which is the Greek word for time instead of just chronos, which if you got a fancy watch, it says it's a certified chronometer. That's minutes, seconds, days, time passes by. But the word kairos means, it's another Greek word for time, and it means the opportune moment, to seize the moment. It's that point in time in which instead of just minutes, seconds, days, the just normal timeline of your life ticking away, something happens. Something jumps in there and happens. And for us, and most people that get in our business and most people that make a decision to change their health and get on our product, there's a trigger point. Something happens. They look at their life and they realize for things to change, I've got to change. If I keep doing what I'm doing now, I cannot expect different results. I've got to quit kidding myself. They realize that. They realize that, donuts and Twinkies and Coke and soda is not a good way to eat the rest of my life. And I don't eat enough fruits and vegetables. Something triggers it. They have a health crisis. Something triggers a change. And so that kairos moment for us was, and you think about what yours is too. As I'm telling you this, it'd be really cool for you to identify what your trigger was and make it part of your story. But for us, our pastor preached a sermon on getting out of debt. Here we were 23 years old. She was 22 years old. And we were in debt, car payments, everything. And he was, I don't remember exactly what he said, but she came home at night. She was crying. We're never going to have kids. I'm like, what are you talking about? And she said, we're never going to be able to both stay at home. We're never going to be able to work on just your income. I'll never be able to stay at home. And I'm not having a child and putting it in daycare 40 hours a week. She was distraught. Just totally distraught. And that was our trigger point. We didn't get in Juice Plus right away. We began a journey to solve a life crisis. Now, our life crisis was she really wanted to be at home when we had our first child. She was, literally sobbing over how to make that happen. And I don't know what yours is. Everybody to me that's successful in this business has some kind of desire to make some kind of change, a health change, a mental change. A lot of times it's a time freedom change. But are you, maybe you're one of those that, used to or still get on an airplane on Sunday night, the job you're with, but you travel all week and you come home on Friday exhausted and get to see your family 2 days and you crank it up and do it again. And you're tired of that routine. Maybe you're making great money, but you have no time to enjoy it. Maybe what you do to make a living is keeping you from making a life in some way. Some of you, the health crisis is what triggered your engagement with this product and company, and then you decided it was so amazing that you got in the business. Whatever it is, usually you can reach back. If you look back, you can find that trigger point that was the decision for you to get in this business. And so hang on to that thought for a minute, because we can talk for a minute before we get off about your story and how those fit together. But when we decided that Laurie wanted to stay at home, so we made that decision. That was our Kairos moment. We got to figure out a way for her to be able to stay at home if she's ever going to be the mom she wants to be, we have the family we want to have. And so here's how we found Juice Plus, or found this company. We began to network. We were actually, I don't know how many of you all have a lot of just key couples around you that are friends that, where you connect with both the husband and the wife, or just buddies you hang out with. But Laurie and I were in this big church, and so there were probably 200 couples that we just kind of hung out and did life with. We'd play games on Friday nights. We'd go to a movie. We'd go to concerts. We'd go skiing somewhere. And that was kind of our, that's kind of who we hung out with. And so we just began to spread the word, just like, if you talk to your neighbors and said, hey, I'm looking for a new person to clean my house. Have you got anybody who cleans your house? And you start just networking around, trying to find somebody that might know something that would help you make a decision. So we said, hey, Laurie, we've done a little budget. And if Laurie could make $1,000 a month, she can quit her job and we would really be on track to where we want to be and start having a family. It wasn't a big number. I mean, we were not looking for get rich quick. We were just trying to get her at home. And literally a friend of a friend, somebody from another church who lost her job, who started doing this business, called and said, hey, I know you don't know me, but Ann said Laurie was looking for something to do. I'd love for you to come over. We'd cook dinner for you and just tell you what we're doing, because I lost my job and we found something amazing. It was that's just how it started. And I don't know who brought you in this business. And it probably, kind of like us, it wasn't that there was somebody that was just amazing with a pencil and did an amazing presentation on a whiteboard. You may have. It probably wasn't that, oh my gosh, there's research on this product. And you just said, if there's research, I'm doing this. Maybe you fell in love with MD Anderson or Vanderbilt or whatever. But for the most part, it was somebody cared enough about you to share what this business had done for them in a very, really casual situation. And then the details and the marketing plan and all the magnificent stuff came after that. But I bet you if you think about it, there was a mouth, a person that delivered something to you that said, hey, I have no idea if you're interested, but this has been life-changing for me and my spouse, and would love to sit down and show you what we're doing. That's what happened. This lady, her name was Fran. She's out of the business now, but she was a mercy personality type, one of those you'd never hire them to sell anything, but if you were sick and needed somebody by your bedside to pray for you and care for you, just that kind of Mother Teresa kind of personality type. And she cooked dinner for us. We were over there between Christmas and New Year's 31 years ago. And all we did was we heard her story. I lost my job. My husband was a pastor. I was the bigger breadwinner in the family. When I lost my job, I had to figure out something to do. And we found Juice Plus, this company. And I made $80,000 my first year. I'm like, and I don't remember anything she said that night. She was nice, sweet. She cooked a meal for us. We had a great time sitting in front of her fireplace. She didn't explain the marketing plan. She really didn't understand it. She loved the product, really didn't understand it. But I heard her say, and I made $80,000 my first year. And we left there that night. We didn't sign up that minute. We almost did. But we left there in the car on the way home and said, you know what? If she can do it, we can do it. If she can make $80,000, we can do your $1,000 a month with one hand tied behind our back. And I'm telling you all that just to say we did not get to a place where we're making more money than we ever imagined we'd make. We're making more in a year than we imagined we would have made in our lifetime. That's not why we started. We started small and it became huge, but somebody cared. Somebody cared enough to share that with us, and it's exploded from that point. So we got started, and we got 38 customers our first month, showed the business to 13, recruited 5, made sales coordinator our first month. So we went really fast. And I'm not saying you don't have to go that fast, but somewhere when you really decide to do this, not when you decide to pay $50, there's a difference, because most people don't really decide to do this when they pay their $50. Most people, there is a point at which they really decide to do this. For some reason, we may have been in the smaller minority, but when we paid our $50, and actually I'll tell you, I don't share this a lot, but when we signed up, you actually had to buy $5,000 of inventory. If you wanted to make virtual franchise, VF, the easiest way to get there was to go buy inventory. And it was, back then it was 5,000 instead of 2,000. Well, it's really 6,000 now unless you fast track, but it was 5,000 to make VF. And here we are, 23, 22. We got so excited. We went to the bank and got a 30-day note for $5,000. We didn't have $5,000. So this, I don't share that a lot, but here's the caveat. We didn't have a choice but to go to work because we had to pay back the $5,000. Now, I actually think having to invest $5,000 in inventory was a good thing and a bad thing. It was a bad thing because it eliminated a lot of people from signing up. There are a lot of people that, would not take the risk and spend $5,000 or couldn't find $5,000 to get started. You still could start slow, but the move was to jump in at $5,000 if you were serious. The good part about investing $5,000 is we had a motivator that we at least had to go get our 20 or 30 customers and pay that loan off. We had no choice. And so when you sign up today, you have the choice of treating this business. If you've read Eric Worre's book, GoPro, I mean, he's got a lot of great things, but everybody should read that book just to get the right mindset because, and this story's in my book, but when I was little, you built, I don't know if you all ever did it, but you made model airplanes, or you had you got a box that had 1 million pieces in it, and you got the glue you weren't supposed to sniff, and you put things together. And this business to me is so like a model airplane. Let me paint this picture for you. You go out with your dad, and you have a Saturday, and y'all are going to do this hobby together, and you buy this box, and let's say it's $50, and it's this cool World War II airplane you're going to put together. And you get it all out, you spread it out on the dining room table, and you spend 2 or 3, 4 hours, and you're like putting the pieces together and gluing it, and you're so excited. It's getting along very good. And all of a sudden, it's time for a ball game. And you have to leave your project. So you say, let's leave everything right here. We'll go to the game. We'll come back and finish. So you get up and go to the game. Well, the game turns into a game, and you go to dinner and a movie, and then you get back, and it's time to go to bed. You wake up the next morning, and you still have not gotten back to finishing this airplane. Well, the next Friday rolls around, and Mom's like, we've got company coming this weekend. You've got to clear that crap off the dining room table. And so you could finish it, but no, you pack it all up and you put it in the box and put it on the top shelf in the closet, and you're going to get, next weekend you'll finish it. 6 months later, it's spring cleaning, and you're cleaning out the closet. Well, I don't know if we're ever going to get around to this. I guess we can just toss it. And that was $50 that you made an investment in, that you let life keep you from completing the task. And you've got a decision to make. You need to treat this business like you invested $5,000, $50,000, $500,000 and give it that kind of effort. Or if you treat it like you spent $50, like you're going to dip your toe in the swimming pool to see if it's cold or hot or warm to jump in, you can't do this business like this. So we dove in head over heels. Now, I'm telling you that we didn't have a choice because we were right out of college and we had to pay. Even if we quit, we still had to do enough to pay the bank back. Okay. It's kind of like that book, Go for No. If you'll go out and get enough no's, then in the process, you're going to get enough yeses to build an incredible business. That book's about, don't quit till you get 100 no's. So you make your goal getting a no, where right now a goal would just defeat you and destroy you and just rock your world. Now, if you take the mindset of, okay, I'm going to do this business until I get 100 no's. And if I get 100 no's, then I can quit, whatever number you pick. And now every time you get a no, it's a good thing. Every time you get a no, it's a good thing. Well, if you go after the no's, you're going to get enough yeses. So our journey started with a flourish. So one of the things I would tell you is make sure that you're giving this the effort of a business that cost you $500,000, even though it didn't. It'd be like if you started a sporting goods store and Academy Sports moved in across the street and you had signed a 5-year lease, bought inventory, bought computers, and hired employees, when Academy Sports comes across the street and now you have competition and big boys sitting there, do you quit? No, you can't. You've got a lease. You've got inventory. So what do? You come up with a strategy where you can win. So maybe you go to the local high school and you start making jerseys and custom team gear for the local high school instead of trying to compete in the mainstream, but you don't quit because you've got an investment. So we don't have that in this business. You don't have a boss that can fire you. So treat it like you've invested $500,000, because I'll be honest with you. I mean, this business, my son last week, he said something like, he's a real estate and finance major, and he was finishing up his summer internship. He says, Dad, you won't believe this. We had a meeting today. And he said, this attorney we were working with, they were paying him $1,200 an hour. I said, well, I make that much. He says, you do? And I said, yeah. I said, Zach, we make way more than that attorney does. But I said, he has to, do you think he bills $1,200 an hour, 10 hours a day? No, he's got to book that client. He gets up, maybe he's gone from the house 10, 12 hours a day, but I can assure you he's not billing out at $1,000, $1,200 an hour every hour of the day, and he's got to go get another client. He's got to do it again. It's like, you don't understand the business we built. We make that much, and it's residual income. It's not just, it's not just one-time income. And so you've got to make that initial, push up front, but you also have to understand that you're building something that's going to, with the hard work you put in today, it's going to pay you more tomorrow than it does. It's going to pay you more a year from now than it does tomorrow. And so the fruit of all this, and I know Reagan's got to check out here in just a minute, but the fruit of all this has been this life we get to build, where you look at Reagan and Richard and Sean and Jennifer, and there are lots of leaders around this company, especially the ones that have, there are people that are sales coordinators that are making great income where this business has changed their life. Okay. So don't discount that extra $500 a month. I mean, we have a girl who got pregnant when she was 46 because the only thing she did, she was told she could never have another child. She started taking Juice Plus. She's pregnant 9 months later. She tried everything. So she was a believer, and she didn't want to go back to work with this child. And so she said her first month goal was to pay for their groceries. Second month goal was groceries and the electric bill. And then it was groceries, the electric bill, and gas for the car. And so she just kept adding a little thing. And now she's a sales coordinator, and she's making several $1,000s a month. She hadn't hit NMD yet, but this business changed her life. She's at home with her baby, and so it changed her life. But if you want to have a life-altering 6-figure income, company benefits, expense allowance, some of the amazing things, there are a lot of people on this phone that have done that. On our team, we've actually helped, I think, 235 people make national marketing director.
Wow.
And so, when you're able to do that, you see lives that get changed. And so I want you to focus, as we kind of wrap it up tonight, I want you to focus in on what was the trigger point that made you say yes. Just like mine and Laurie's was, finding a way to make $1,000 a month for her to stay at home. We had that moment where we got to figure this out. And then I want you to build your story, not around the huge success you've had in Juice Plus already, which you can tell that if you want to, but I want you to build your story around how that trigger point, birthed itself in your life, how that became front and center, and how you looked and found this business in order to make that change in your life. And if you're not getting those results you want right now, maybe you've just, invested the $50 and you're trying, you're not doing it. There's too many around you that are doing it for you to say, this is not working for me. It does work. I mean, the business actually probably is more proven than the product. If you were to go out and see the lives the business has changed, to me, it's easily as validated as our product is with the research. So it's sitting there for you. I mean, the only variable is you with the business, the company, the people, the market, the industry, the timing are all the same. And the variable is you. And if you have something that you're really wanting to do different in your life, and you're wanting these different fruits in your life, then sit out, and when you get off the call tonight, just pause for a minute and go back and find that trigger point. Why are you doing this business? Why are you taking this product? And go out and build and tell the people around you, hey, I have no idea what's going on in your life, but let me tell you what we've uncovered and how we're going to make the change and solve that problem. Because, and I'll close with this statement, literally everybody you know, including yourself, deserves the right and should figure out a way to make the life they desire and not just pass their life away making a living. And we can all do that. And, you know, there are other ways to do that, but I don't know of any way where you can invest as little as $50, and the upside is a business in 26 countries you can run from your cell phone, you know. And, you know, it's just amazing. Like, every time I get to sit down and talk about it, I get excited again. I'm super duper excited right now. My daughter's graduated from college, making a full-time income. She didn't have to get a job, doing her Juice Plus business. She's helping me with my nonprofit foundation called the Dollar Fund. And, you know, right now I'm excited about helping her build that 6-figure income for her family so she doesn't have to just make a living. And I really enjoyed sharing with you guys tonight. I know I didn't give you a lot of details, X's and O's. We can do that on another call. But you're in the right place at the right time. It's an amazing company. They've never done anything in almost 32 years now to make me not trust them emphatically. You know, they're a debt-free company doing amazing research and good leadership. And you've got good leaders like Richard and Reagan and Sean and Jennifer on your team. So tell Reagan I said I hope she has a great 90-day game plan call. And I guess, Jenna, should I turn it over to you to wrap it up?
Yes, that's great. Thank you so much for doing this call for us. It was amazing. I took a lot of great notes, so we appreciate you taking the time.
Good. I'm glad to be here. Y'all have a great rest of the week. And I guess I'll see most of you guys in Tampa in about a month.
Yes, you will.
It's less than a month now, I guess. Yeah.
Yep. Thank you so much.
Bye. Good night.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Jenna.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you.